Online, all you see is win, win, win,
Polish.
win. Look, we've been testing, we've been tweaking, we've been changing things and just can't figure it out. I went to the funnel, and within a matter of seconds, I recognized the problem. Especially when you have a reputation in the industry to be the person that has helped build a lot of brands, they assume that you just touch it and it turns to gold.
Paul, thank you so much for coming today here and sharing this time with me.
Yeah, Nick, thank you very much for having me on this podcast and allowing me to connect with your audience. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure of mine. I know you even from the moments when I couldn't imagine myself doing something in online business. Back that time, I was somebody with mindset who was like, come on, me to sell something online, this kind of like I'm not influencer, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
And from that moment, I'm following what you're doing, and I thought that this would be perfect opportunity to we share with audience a lot of value. So, Paul, my first question for you today is, you went from delivering phone book out of your car to managing millions of dollars and ad accounts. What was the exact moment when everything shifted for you? Can you go back in that time and tell me how this looked?
Yeah, so I think I always had this entrepreneur spirit. And,
Mhm.
people ask me, why did you decide to become an entrepreneur? I'm like, I had bills to pay. It wasn't like, when I was growing up as a kid, I could never say, I want to be a digital marketer when I grow up. There was no internet. So it was not even a concept that I would understand. But I found myself, the nerdy side of me when internet became more prevalent and people were using it, that I quickly learned how to build websites. And so that was a side hustle initially, that I was building websites. And I would go door to door, business to business, just pitching them, you need to have a website. And at this time, only like 98% of people, um,
Understood.
98% of businesses did not have websites. It was phone
Yeah.
book, website was completely foreign to people. And so I was working, a typical 9 to 5 job. And I remember the owner of the company, he would come in and he would get mean and angry, just yelling at people and stuff. And here I am, I'm building my websites on the side as a side hustle. And he would come in yelling at people. And I'm like, I can't handle this anymore. So one day I went up to him, I was like, look, the way that you come in here yelling at everybody, it makes for a hostile work environment. And I remember he pointed me in the chest and he said, Paul, if you talk to me like that again, you're going to lose your job.
Oh my
And I
God.
made a decision right there in that moment. I'm like, look, I'm not going to let him fire me. So I told him, I said, well, this is my last day. And I left. And from there, I was like, I have to really learn how to build these websites, do this online stuff. And that began the journey of my online entrepreneur world.
That's amazing. And this was probably a driving force to you prove to him that you can do it, whatever he
Yeah,
needs and
yeah.
whatever
And,
he
I- and
said.
I, I was like, this guy was very wealthy. I remember walking out to the parking lot. He had, the big Bentley. He had a house on the beach. And I thought to myself, if this mean, angry guy can have success, because he was very wealthy, very affluent, I thought that was success. I'm like, if he can do it, I can too. And at that point, I cut off my 9 to 5 job. So I had to hustle and I had to figure out how to make it work. So it was at that moment, it was all in, it was all or nothing.
What did failure feel like for you during that time?
Well, I think failure is just a part of the journey
Mhm.
that I try to reframe what failure is. I like to see failure as learning because the winners are the biggest losers.
Mm.
Winners are the biggest losers. A lot of times people just see win, but you don't realize that there's a lot of failures that get you to that win. Online, all you see is win, win, win,
Polished.
win. Yeah, yeah. But reality is there's a whole lot of losing that's involved in the winning process. I know there's a popular song. It says, all we do is win. Well, that's not reality. A lot of
Yeah.
times we fail. A lot of times we make mistakes. So I embrace failure as learning moments. Uh, Obviously, none of us like to experience it, but it's in those moments of failure that we learn to grow the most.
That's very powerful what you're saying, because I am also somebody who take failure as a brand new opportunity for a new beginning, just this time more intelligently. That's how I'm
Yes,
framing it.
yes, yes, yes.
What belief did you hold back that time that turned out to be completely wrong?
What belief? That it was going to be easy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this. It's like at that time, the gold rush, because you hear stories about a lot of people making big money online really quick. And well, it didn't happen as quickly as I thought. There was a lot of work. There was many years where I was doing things that was just barely paying the bills. And I
Mhm.
think when I started to see big breakthroughs is at the advent of social media platforms like Facebook. That's where I saw a greater opportunity. And most of the times when people know about me, they know me as someone that is big into social media platforms. But before that, I was doing like Google SEO, I was doing reputation management, I was doing building websites. And granted, I made money, I did okay. But as far as this get rich overnight, that was definitely a myth that I believed in, and it caused some frustration, I guess you would say. So,
Yeah, you see, and this is interesting to ask you next question. Uh, what was the driving you most in that time? Fear or vision?
I think vision. I think vision.
Yeah.
I sensed that there was huge opportunity, and I guess I was gullible enough to believe it, that
Hmm.
I knew or I've heard of people. Of course, this is during the dot-com boom, and you see all of these internet companies popping up, and so I knew that there was potential there. It's just I didn't find my lane as quickly as I expected to find it.
Hmm. And one of the things which I was reading in your biography partly is that you managed over a billions of dollars in ad spend for different people. And I believe that this gives you today unfair advantage when it comes to ad spend because you know
Sure,
a lot. But
sure.
what people still do not understand about online ads?
Well, it's more than just ads. When it comes to marketing, it's more than just your ads, but it's your funnel, it's your messaging, it's your brand. There's many things that differentiates a successful marketing campaign from an unsuccessful ad campaign. And so, yes, your funnels, they have to align with your ads, the colors. I was just talking to a client recently where we were doing an audit of their business, and their funnel was converting very low, like 1%.
Wow.
And they said, look, we've been testing, we've been tweaking, we've been changing things and just can't figure it out. I went to the funnel, and within a matter of seconds, I recognized the problem. The particular problem that they have is their funnel is very colorful, a lot of vibrant colors, very colorful.
Mm.
Aesthetically,
Dysfunctional.
yeah, aesthetically, it looks really nice. Aesthetically, looks really great. But when everything pops, your call to action doesn't pop. So you have to make that call to action the focus and tone down the excitement on that page.
Yeah, and when we speak about ads, I want to ask you something here because I'm also not having much experience with them. I'm here and there touching the field.
Sure.
What makes a great ad nowadays so that people can stop scrolling?
Yeah. Well, so you said it right there. You said it right there. Stop scrolling.
Yep.
That's the answer. The ad has to be disruptive, has to be disruptive. What I mean by that is you have to differentiate yourself from every other ad. Now, the challenge with that is to continually be disruptive. Now, I've been behind some of the biggest ad campaigns online that when people would go online, they're like, whoa, that's an incredible looking ad. And they would stop. Everybody would click just because the ad looked cool. Now, what happens when you are behind some of the most disruptive ad campaigns is you have all of these marketers that are looking at your ad campaign and saying, wow, that's cool. I like how he did that. And so they
Absolutely.
begin to replicate it. They begin to do the same thing. So 6 months down the road, your ad that was once disruptive, everybody's doing the same thing and it is no longer disruptive. So you have to be continually moving and defining and figuring out what is disruptive.
Yeah, and this is very powerful what you're now speaking here, because one of the things we are all witnessing is that humans' attention it's
Mhm.
way narrow.
Yeah.
Moreover, even when something is very valuable, humans' attention is very low down. I'll just give you out of context here one thing, and I will ask you the question. Recently, I visited the biggest oceanarium in Spain with my family, and this
Uh-huh.
is the first and the only chance I could see penguins.
Yeah.
The line, it's like a horseshoe, and it lasts probably 5 minutes. People
Yeah.
slowly queue, and it lasts 5 minutes. How they're driving you
Mhm.
to you see all the penguins. People
Mhm.
literally have attention until they make first photos or videos, and after that, all of them walk around. There is
Right. Right.
literally half of the room full of people and half of the room empty. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, like, wow, you can see penguins once in a lifetime, probably,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
maybe few times, and you still not appreciate that. When
Yeah.
we're coming to social media, people are scrolling endlessly.
Mhm.
What is this? What hooked them first? Is this a
Mhm.
color? Is this a sound? Is this first seconds of your speech? When you say disruptive, what actually means? What is the biggest asset of you in that disruptiveness?
Yeah, so when it comes to a purely social media aspect, I do believe the first 3 seconds on your video, the content that is going to hook the people in.
Mhm.
But what leads from there is value, the ability for, content that transforms, that inspires, that motivates, that educates. And if you can lead with value, you're not stuck to the gimmicks, the hooks, the,
Mhm.
moving pieces and stuff. I'll give you an example. The number one podcast in the world is a 3.5 hour podcast, the Joe Rogan show,
Yeah.
3.5 hours. So people have an attention span long enough to listen to a 3.5 hour podcast and make it the number one podcast. What makes the Joe Rogan podcast such a well listened podcast is because it's real, it's authentic, and it's just sincere conversations. So I believe in the end, authenticity always wins. Authenticity always wins. That doesn't mean that you're going to connect with everybody. There are going to be some people that don't like you, don't connect with you. But when you are true, authentically who you are going to draw your idea audience.
Very powerful, because nowadays everybody try to look the same. They try to
Yeah.
copy the big brands, copy the big influencers.
Yeah.
Let's make one ideal situation. You meet a new client or a brand. What
Uh-huh.
is the first thing you look and to know that they are scalable, that they have a business that you can scale?
So for me, I look at it in a purely metric basis. And what I mean by that is I want to see that the person has hit the benchmark of, let's say, they have made their first $250,000.
Mhm.
And obviously, that is a good variable for me to test. Um, I guess you would have to determine what is the price of the product, because if the price of the product is $250,000, then they haven't been proven yet. But let's
Yeah.
just say they're a digital offer at $1,000. They've made $250,000. Well, it probably expresses market viability. It probably expresses that there's a demand, that people like it. So that's what I like to see, is that they've all, if I'm going to be brought in to help scale that company, I want to see that they've got something to scale first. More than an idea, more than just, a concept. I want to see that they've actually started to get volume.
So it's basically data based, like you're
Yeah, yeah,
operating with
yeah.
data in that moment.
Database. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
and
want to see proof of concept has already been tested. Sometimes people will come to me and they'll say, "Hey, I have this great idea.
yeah.
This is amazing," and they want to hire me to help them execute it and to grow it. Well, if it hasn't been tested, it's just an idea, and it puts all the risk on me at that point.
Yeah, absolutely understand. And when it comes to funnels, how do you decide funnel is good enough? Which data then you try to track and to see, is this a click rate? Is this purchasing through the funnel? How you operate in that part?
Yeah. So big picture, big picture from beginning to end is that you want to determine the return on investment. Return on
Hmm.
investment. So a funnel can have great conversion, but if your cost per acquisition to get people to that funnel is high, then you can be losing money on a funnel that is converting high. So all of those variables have to align. Uh, your audience, your ads, the timing of it, then your funnel. So I would say the ROI on the funnel. Now, if we're just looking strictly at optimizing that funnel, removing traffic, just say you got good traffic. And then I would say, what is your conversion rate of that funnel? So out of 100 people, how many take action on your funnel, whether it's a sign up for a webinar, whether it, whatever your call to action is, it is going to be your conversion rate.
That's very interesting because you're very much in details when it comes to funnels. And how do you see future of funnels, considering that we're having AI autoresponders all over social medias, maybe except LinkedIn at the moment, and they're usually clear call to action. Pretty much, if you
Yeah.
go on somebody's Instagram and do the keyword
Uh-huh.
comment, you can get in DM all the process of they putting you in the machine and actually from the hook until the call to action. How do you see future of funnels? Are they dead? Are they going to be existing more? How this industry is going to change?
Well, I think a big change is going to be there's going to be a greater demand for human to human interaction, human to
Mhm.
human interaction. What I mean by that is people know AI, people hear it, people feel it, and even if they don't, they question in the back of their mind, is this AI? So
Oh yeah.
they will want a human to human interaction, a relationship, a connection. That's why I'm a big advocate of doing in-person events, connecting with people, shaking hands, eye to eye contact with people. All of those things are going to be more and more in demand. So when it comes to funnels, I think that there's always going to be a process where people want to get quick action and quick connections and quick purchase. Funnels will always be that platform. But I do believe this. I do believe with the advent of AI that it's going to be easier and easier to create. There used to be a
Yeah.
day that I would charge someone $50,000 to create one funnel for them. That's because there was only a handful of people that knew how to create funnels. Now, everybody and their mom can create funnels with the different platforms that are out there. So the price to entry for a funnel is a lot less.
Yeah, and I see it much more into puzzle way because I believe that now funnels, they already are building as a puzzle. You can
Yeah,
literally kind of canva them.
yeah,
But this is very interesting what you're saying here because for somebody who do events like myself, I
mhm,
also believe in more human to human connection and
yeah.
that this is going to be something where we are going to thrive. Uh, Paul, I want you break me down a
Mhm.
client of you
Okay.
comes as a struggling, have
Mhm.
problems here and there, and make explosive growth. First of all, tell me how much time it's possible for that and how you deal with people who have in like kind of like unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. Well, most people do have unrealistic expectations. So
Yeah.
that's, when you are especially when you have a reputation in the industry to be the person that has
Hmm.
helped build a lot of brands, they assume that you just touch it and it turns to gold. Well, you have to have something good to touch. Most of the individuals that I worked with, they already had good products, good services that was generating significant revenue. So what I did is I came along, I helped scale it, I helped optimize it, I helped improve things. But they already had an amazing personal brand. They already had a product or service that was doing well, but they just maybe had a challenge of advancing it online and making it stronger. But I can tell you, you know, an ideal client came to us and they had a digital offer that had already generated over $2 million online. So,
That's
hey,
solid.
we know that people like this product, but that $2 million was generated with affiliate traffic. Affiliate traffic. So, is affiliate
Mm.
traffic going to a webinar? And after he kind of tapped out on the affiliate market, he transitioned over into paid ads. And for a year, he tried paid ads. He was spending $50,000 a month on ads and generating about $50,000 in sales. So he wasn't making any money. He was stuck in a 1 year agreement with the agency. Not only was he not making money, but after he paid his team and paid the agency, he
Yeah,
was
it was in
losing
minus.
money. Yeah, he was losing money. So he came to us and he said, look, I know that people like this product, but it's just not scalable. And so he was blaming the digital marketing agency for the ads. And I was looking at it and I said, I don't know if the ads are the problem. When I found out that the $2 million that he had generated was from affiliate traffic, I
Hmm.
recognized that the real problem was the funnel because when you're sending affiliate traffic, you don't have to build that trust, that relationship, that indoctrination. You don't have to do that. It's already been done by the affiliate themselves. So when you send them to a webinar, they're already warmed up. It's a warm audience. But a cold audience, it's a different psychology. So what we did is we changed the funnels. We actually built a tripwire funnel before we sent them to the webinar where we, some mini teaching and then bounced them to the webinar. And he went from, spending $50,000 a month to making $50,000 a month. Then 1 month after that, he was generating $500,000 a month. So it scaled. So it was just, me being able to say, hey, the problem isn't the ads, but the problem is the funnels. But that's a great scenario. That's a great situation. Sometimes people, they have this expectation, hey, I've got this coaching program. I've got this product and I want to make $1 million. Well, you don't even know if people want it. You don't know if it's viable. You don't know if it's the right time. There's a lot of different elements when it comes to a product or a service being successful. It's more than just a good offer. There's a lot of elements that are involved in it.
Absolutely. And I fully agree with you. And I'm glad that you bring this here because most of the people are having best $1 million idea. They're just waiting for somebody to realize that, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, I would like to touch base a little bit personal brands. My
Uh-huh.
belief is that we are slowly entering the era where personal brand is becoming most important stuff. Probably
Yes.
with AI coming in, we may run out of opportunities to do so many stuffs except storytelling, personal branding, and so on.
Yeah.
I know that you work with people who were amazing personal brands. Ty Lopez, Les Brown, Grant Cardone, and you can name even more of them. What do they all have in common that you
Mhm.
found that it's in common for all these brands?
Uh, well, they have a personality, they have a persona that they are able to communicate online. And what I mean by that is oftentimes they have a polarizing personality
Mm-hmm.
where not everybody likes them, and that's okay. If you try to be a personal brand that appeals to everybody, number one, you are inauthentic because
Mm-hmm.
not everybody likes you.
It's like
That's
a
okay.
blend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's okay. Not everybody likes you, and you can embrace that. You can accept that. But the people that you connect with, those are the ones that you really want to focus on. So be who you are with true authenticity, and just double down on that. So that's what you see in a lot of these individuals. Like, for example, Grant Cardone, there's people that don't like him, and he's okay with it. His
Yeah.
personality, his style, that's okay. Maybe they like another person. So stop trying to be all things to all people and just be you, authentic and real. And online, I think that you almost have to double down on those attributes that
Mhm.
make you unique.
It's very powerful because nowadays, as I said, like most of the people try to copy. I'm getting
Yeah.
tons of these messages. Hey, Nick, would you like to restart editing your reels like Alex Hormozy? No,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't. I'm
yeah.
not Alex Hormozy,
That's
right?
great. That's great. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm seeing this as a very powerful what you're saying. Do you think that the way they speak to the audience are the way they actually live their life privately with their friends?
Mhm.
Or do you think that this is just their way how they speak to audience? Do you think that authenticity lies in truly they being absolutely raw on the camera and off the camera?
Yeah, well, so I would say this. As a speaker, you do change the way that you speak based on the audience. For
Hmm.
example, if I'm speaking in a stadium of 10,000 people, I'm going to speak different and talk different than I might speak at a workshop with 20 people. So your tone, your vibrato, all of those things, those do change based on your audiences, but I think their core beliefs, what they believe, who they are, their core principles. That is something that is universal, that what you see online is what you're going to see offline. Because if those things are not congruent, people will catch it up quickly. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So if they're like, he's saying this, but he's practicing this, people will catch on really quickly. So I believe their core principles, their beliefs is something that is deep. They are passionate about. You can't change their mind. Even if they're wrong, you can't change their mind. They
Oh
believe
yeah.
this is this, and you can't change their mind.
Yeah, yeah. Some of them are really strong in holding that frame, and they're
Yes,
using it
yes,
all the time, no matter are they right or not.
yes.
Even maybe they believe like, okay, maybe I'm not right, but that's my frame. So I
Yeah, yeah.
still like hold on with that. Paul, can you tell me what's the biggest mistake people make when they're building a personal brand?
Well, I think I would go back to what we just said there, is they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to be all things to all people. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to be liked by everybody. If you
Too
try
much
to be
friendly.
liked, yeah, yeah. They're trying to be liked by everybody. If you try to be liked by everybody, you end up being liked by nobody, especially yourself, because you're not you. When I first got started online, I found myself kind of like compartmentalizing parts of my life, like this is Paul the businessman, this is the Paul person of faith. And I just kind of separated those two, and I didn't allow them to come together, and just trying to appeal to the business people. But the moment I allowed myself permission to, hey, all of these areas of my life, whether it's my family values, whether it's my faith, whether it's my quirky personality, that I like superheroes, I wear a bow tie, that I embrace that, that's when I started really connecting with people. And that's when I felt the most comfortable. Like I would find myself on calls with high level executives, and you can see, look, I got Iron Man in the background, I've got Marvel posters and stuff. So I would find this hesitancy, like, okay, they probably can't take me serious. And so there was a time where I had a background that it was all books or as an office or something like that. But now I'm just like, okay, if a person doesn't like me because I like Iron Man, I like superheroes, I wear a bow tie and glasses, then they're probably not the person I want to work with. So I find myself on calls with high level executives now. And when we first get on the call, they're like, oh, I love Iron Man. I'm like, Cool. You know what I mean? So be you, be authentically you. And there's going to be things that people don't like, but that's okay. There used to be a time where I compartmentalized my faith in business because I was afraid, like, okay, if a person, really start to dig in and see about my faith,
Mhm.
maybe they wouldn't want to work with me. But now I'm like, if a person doesn't want to work with me because of my faith, I probably don't want to work with them either.
Yeah.
So when you are authentically who you are, you attract the people that you should work with and you repel the people you shouldn't be working with.
Hey, you. This isn't for you if you want to get just better at sales. This is for people who want to truly dominate it. Either it's DMs, calls, webinars, keynote speaking presentations, or any other form, Instagram or Facebook stories as well. The game has changed. AI, it's just around the corner. So if you're relying on old sales scripts, old sales pitches, or if you're relying to learn sales from the old books written even 2 or 3 years ago, to not even speak about 10 or 20 or 30 years ago bestsellers, you're losing the game. Your sales will not perform on the best way. See, this is why I created this community. To give you unfair sales advantage in every format, every tool, for every buyer. Cold DMs, sales calls, sales pitches, understanding the sales pitches, breaking down sales objection, and everything else what you need to understand when it comes to different tonalities and sales psychology so that you understand how to better perform your sales. This isn't another Slack, WhatsApp, or Telegram group. This is a community of people who want to become not just better at sales, sales dominators. It's free, and you can join it just by clicking the link below in the description of this video. That's very powerful what you're saying, and I really love that you're bringing this here because I also believe that we shouldn't serve everyone, and
Right.
also sometimes no matter if people just have the money to pay for
Yeah.
our services, this doesn't necessarily mean that we should work with them.
Right. Right.
Uh, One thing on my journey is that I had a long time belief that I was starting everything late.
Uh-huh.
When I
Uh-huh.
enter affiliate marketing, I was thinking like it's already end of the season for that. When I started sales coaching, it's end of the season for that. When I
Uh-huh.
I start podcasting in 2025 or probably middle of 2024.
Uh-huh.
And now I want to ask you, when it comes to personal brand and building authority, is it harder to build right now in 2025 and further on? Or now is easier than before, considering that you have been seeing all the changes in the
Yeah.
marketing and in the industry?
So here's something that you have to understand about personal brand. Podcast, 10 years from now, it may be obsolete. I don't
Hmm.
know. Maybe because of technology, it'll be a new platform or a new vertical of connecting with people online. I don't know. I can tell you that 10 years ago, there was things that people were doing that you can't do now. That the technology has changed, the style of marketing has changed. But when it comes to personal branding existed thousands of years ago.
Oh,
That tells me it will exist thousands of years from now. So there will always be a demand and an importance and a necessity in business to build a personal brand. What you do is replace the word brand with reputation, personal reputation. People work with people they know, like, and trust. People that have a good reputation. That's what it is. So if you have a business, if you have a service that you really believe in, you should want as many people as possible to know about it. So you
mhm.
use tools, you use skills, you use platforms that help you build and grow your personal brand. And yes, I believe that we are in a great window of opportunity when it comes to building the personal brand. You've got post COVID, where there was a, a diminished interaction with people. And now we are at the AI. So I think we are kind of in this trust pandemic. You know what I mean? We are in this
Mhm.
trust pandemic where people they're they've been burned by coaches and programs and things like that. And then they're like, okay, I don't even know what is real nowadays. So if you have a strong personal brand, you're not going to be limited by one particular industry, one particular product or service. A great example is some of the celebrities that we see. I like to use the illustration Shaq. Uh, Here in the United States, Shaq endorses almost any product you can think of. It's General Car Insurance, it's Frosted Flakes, it's Icy Hot Cream. It's anytime I go into the electronics store and he's promoting a printer there, and you see the big cutout of him. Why? Because he's a strong personal brand. He used to be a professional basketball player, but now he is the brand and face for multi-billion-dollar products and services. So a personal brand gives you the ability that you are not limited to one particular product or service. So yes, I think now more than ever, a person should invest in building their personal brand.
Thank you. And can you tell me from your belief, considering that you was working for so many years doing ads, funnels, do you think that every business in online world should run ads or no? And if no, who are those type of businesses you believe that they don't have to do it?
Well, this is what I say when it comes to ads. Number one, you want to be tested organically first. You want to be tested organically first. So if things are not tested organically, it's not doing well organically, it doesn't mean that ads are the answer. All that ads do is amplify what you're already doing. So if you have a bad product or service and you start running ads, guess what? Now more people know you have a bad product or service. So I think that ads, it amplifies what is already happening organically. So if you are getting good results organically, I think that there's probably opportunity for you to scale what you're doing with ads.
Is there a business field or niche you feel like, okay, this niche probably doesn't need ads?
I haven't found it yet. I haven't
Cool.
found it yet. So I think knowing the ad platforms, which ad platform is good, which one fits their audience. But basically, what you are doing is you are speeding up the organic process. You're speeding up the organic process. So if you know that this is your avatar, this is your audience, you can wait for them to hear about you word of mouth, or you can go to them directly and get your message to them quicker. So yeah, I haven't found that audience yet. Maybe I need to look at it closer, but the people that come to us, they want ads.
Yeah, that's more than obvious, right?
Yeah.
Paul, how do you see lead magnets? Most of the people are now saying
Mhm.
lead magnets are dead, rip lead magnets, and so on. How do you see it? And is there a misconception why people feel that lead magnets doesn't perform like they used to?
Well, I think maybe the reason why people are hesitant about lead magnets is the cost per acquisition when it comes to generating leads. Uh, I believe that you should use a paid lead magnet, whether it's some type of micro commitment, some type of otherwise it diminishes the quality of the leads that you're getting. Uh, you know this, there's three types of people. There's
Yes.
Freeple. So I built an entire lead magnet that was based around Freeples, that it was just free opt-ins, but it was low conversion on the back end. So Freeples, they're getting all the free lead magnets. But then there's Cheaples, where you can have a small micro commitment, $7, $10 and stuff. And then you escalate them up to a steeple. Steeples understand that a steep investment will bring a steep transformation. I think the hesitancy that people have when it comes to lead magnets and they say they're dead or they're dying is because the cost per acquisition acquisition has increased, so they're less likely to use it. I see, I actually use a free lead acquisition funnel at
Mhm.
events because there's a relationship, there's a connection. So I'll have two different lead acquisition funnels. I will have one funnel that I'll use at an event. Typically, the people at the event, they paid for admission, so they've been vetted, they've been qualified. So I use that. But then if I'm doing paid traffic, I have another funnel, a lead acquisition funnel that like a free plus shipping book funnel where there is a financial transaction that takes place because that helps offset the ad spend costs and it better qualifies that lead.
This is interesting, and here is why. Most of the people nowadays are making lead magnets as a books, and I'm witnessing them. Most of my podcast guests use the
Yeah.
books as a lead magnet. How do you see this? Is this something what is still beneficial? Is this something what most of people use and kind of becoming saturated? How do you see future of that?
Yeah, so I'm a firm advocate of book funnels. I have a desk full of like here's let me see. I've got a few books of mine here. But a book establishes you as an expert, builds credibility, authority, it indoctrinates the people, all of those things that are necessary. In addition to the book funnel, if I'm not just going to do the book solo, but I'm going to include some teachings as bonuses. So again, it gives me more time with that individual. The name of the game is I want to get as much time with that person before I try to take them to the next level as far as a
Mm.
transactional level.
It's like
I
a
want to have as
nurturing.
much time. Yeah, yeah. So having videos, having trainings, having webinars. So it's more than just that book itself, but there's a lot more content that is associated with it.
Interesting. Here is why. You wrote a book, Solomon Success Code,
Yes,
and
yes,
this book has very interesting name, first of all, because
yes,
it's ancient wisdom towards
yes,
success. How you got
yes.
inspired to write it, and can you tell me where you took the model for that book? What idea drives you to
Sure.
write book with that name?
Oh, okay, so this book, Solomon's Success Code. So I have three books. I have 27 online side hustles. I have Speakpreneur, and I have Solomon's Success Code. Solomon's Success Code is a faith-based book. So it is a book, 31-day devotional based on the book of Proverbs. So Proverbs in the Old Testament, there's 31 chapters, and so I take each chapter and I find a business principle associated to it. So for me and my personal brand, if you follow me, you'll see that I share my faith. So occasionally I will speak at events that are faith-based events, or I'm on a podcast that is a faith-based event. So that book is specifically designed to connect with those individuals that are faith-based. So that's a book that is niche oriented where I know that many people in my community are faith based, so I put it out there and they're like, oh man, that's incredible. So I at events and stuff I might teach principles that are pulled from that book and people say, oh, I like how you talk about the Bible in that way. And so that book is really appealing to faith based entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And one of the things which I also found very interesting is that builds relatability.
Yeah,
And I can relate to you taking
yeah,
your book and reading it.
yeah.
As you mentioned, you talk openly about your faith, and this is something that I support. And by the way, my deep belief is that religious people have way better leadership skills and companies culture than the other ones. I wanted to ask you, how has this shaped the way you do business?
Well, I think it's more than just having faith, but it's practicing faith. You know what I mean? Like a
Mhm.
person can have, be called a Christian or whatever their faith persuasion is. They can be called that, but the real practice of it comes out. And so I work with people of all different faiths, and I have people of different religious beliefs and, even atheists that'll work with me. And one of the things that they say is, you know what I believe, they see that I am true and authentic about it, and the core values that are represented there: integrity, honesty, a sense of having relationship with people and not just transactional. I think that is something that comes across with people. I have all the time people like, hey, I'm not a Christian, but man, I really respect who you are and what you do and the way that you lead your life. And so that's what people want to be able to know. They can trust you, that they have, that you're a real person and that you are looking after their best interests. And it's not just merely I always say this, it's relationship over revenue. It's people over profits. And those phrases, those concepts, those are something that are connected to my faith. Do unto others as you would have them do unto yourself. So again, it's relationships over revenue. It's people over profits. So those principles and how I guide and how I conduct myself in business, it's based upon who I am, and who I am is based upon my faith and my relationship with God.
That's very, very nice. Very nice to hear, because I fully respect that, and we're very close. We're both Christians. How then you deal with struggle based on those principles, and how you navigate yourself through moments which are struggle time, some problems,
Mhm.
and so on?
Well, I think first of all, you have to define what struggle is. Because sometimes people is like a bad day is struggle. You know what I mean? It's like
Yep.
every little thing that it doesn't go their way is a struggle. I'm careful how I define struggle. I'm careful how I define problems. So, to some people, something that's just ordinary to me, it's like, oh, another day. To them, it would be considered a crisis. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my goodness, life is falling apart. I'm like, it's not a big deal. It'll work out. So, number one, my faith, my confidence, my security is in God. But then confidence is being able to confide in yourself. That comes with time, that comes with experience, that you've been doing something for so long that you can find yourself in a problem and you're like, that's not a big deal. We'll figure
Yeah.
it out.
With
I
results.
have problems. Yeah, I have problems all the time that are just, it's part of business. Whether it's a change in ad policies or problems with merchant processors, employee problems, all of these things that people define as problem. I'm not worrying about it. I'm not stressing out about it because I know it's just business. So I don't empower it. I recognize that it's just part of growth. And then I know from doing it so long and the experience that every problem you've probably had before. You've probably had that problem before. It's just a different name. It just looks differently. It just appears different. So if you made it through that problem 5 years ago, you'll make it through it again.
Yeah, and you see, I want to ask you next question that, considering that you're all about authenticity and you yourself are appearing always very authentic who you are, not trying to hide,
Mhm.
uh, is there anything what success couldn't fix for you, that you have to look back in the principles you live, in the principles you try to lead your life and navigate your life through?
Yeah. So I think there, like the word success, to one person, success is having a lot of money, the nice cars, the nice
Yeah.
home. To another person, I've seen people that have all of that, but I wouldn't trade my life for anything for their life. To me, I think success is peace. It's peace. So a person that has billions of dollars, if they don't have peace in their life, they would be willing to say, hey, I'll give you $1 billion if you can bring peace. So that success, I think, obviously for me, I believe that's found in a relationship with God, but it is a, a comfort in who you are and where you are in life that you are you are comfortable in yourself, in all of those areas of your life. So sometimes it's like what you think, if I achieve this, I will be happier, I will have more peace. That's not always the answer. Sometimes people have to step down and I say step down as far as like, hey, they have to slow down. They have to minimize their life. This big making, the hustle life and everything like that. Again, we are all uniquely different. So I know for some people, the hustle life, it's like this. It's like Grant Cardone. If you're not working 60 hours a week, you're a lazy bum. Ty Lopez is like the 4-hour work week. You know what I mean? So you see these
Yes,
two different
absolutely.
personalities and dynamics. So you have to find out who you are. And I think that's the beginning of success, is finding out who you are.
Is there anything you know now what would increase and accelerate your all journey and success if you knew it before? Is there some lesson which now gives you unfair advantage towards all competitors and all people who are in the similar
Yeah.
industry?
So looking back when I first got started, I think I really had this scarcity mindset.
Mm,
And what I mean by that is I hid from everybody. Working with big names. I'm working with celebrities. I'm working with Fortune 500 companies, but I didn't want anybody to know who I was or what I was doing. And a part of it was I didn't want the critique, the eyeballs, and potentially the competition to know about me. And so I limited my interaction with people. I was very behind the scenes. I was very secretive and private about what I did. That gave me a disadvantage
mhm.
because it limited mentors in my life. It limited the amount of relationships that I could have with people, that I could learn from them and that I could grow. I thought that I had to be the guy that knew everything. And so there was areas in my life that I failed in because I wasn't really willing to talk with other people and to learn from other people. So getting out there and understanding it's about collaboration and not competition,
Mhm.
get in the right room. Proximity is power. So things like that will really change the way that you do business when you understand nobody's your competition. You're unique. You're different. People work with you because of you, and nobody's your competition.
I love it. I have one more question for you for the very last of this conversation because you're here spilling the beans and I love it. I really do. If someone's listening right now to us or watching us and has nothing but idea, laptop, mobile phone,
Yeah.
where should they start? And what would be your advice for them in order to skip some ways of failure, burnout, and
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
problems on the road?
Well, go to events, get around people that are successful, change your environment, get mentors. Mentors are the shortcut to success, where instead of you trying to figure it out all by yourself, you invest in getting a mentor. And I know that there's people, if all you have is your laptop, your phone, you don't have money, you're like, oh, I can't afford to get a mentor. Well, a lot of times when it comes to a mentor, it's just getting in the right room with them, building a relationship that you can say, hey, what can I do to serve you to make your life easier? And just building that relationship with them. And you can learn just by being connected with them.
That's very powerful, and I love it because most of the time I'm also hearing from my clients excuses like, oh, yeah, I would like to learn that skill, but now it's not the right time. I'm not having money for
Yeah.
that, and so on. And I usually used to say to people, come on, ask question. I'm pretty sure if they
Yeah.
see your DM, they will answer you. There is
Yeah.
no such a thing, and they will not. Paul, for the very last, I just want to ask you, like, if we imagine a situation that everything disappears, everything what you built, all the success, career, all this amazing network which you're having, uh, how would you personally start from the zero?
I would call you up. I would call you up. No, that's like if I still have my friends, if I still have that, or if I don't have that, I would start making them. Start making. Uh, if I'm wanting to get up here, my social circle has to get up here. So there's nothing stopping you from going to that social circle where the business is, where the opportunity is. Just get in the right rooms, shake hands, add value, do whatever you can do to build that relationship, and the business will come after that. So if you chase relationships, revenue will come. If you chase revenue, you might get revenue, but relationships will go much further.
Thank you so much. This was
You're
absolutely
welcome.
amazing conversation, and
Well,
I'm really
thank you.
thankful.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you,
Thank you.
Nick. I appreciate it.